What's up, nerds? I'm Silver Slurpee. Welcome to the podcast where nerds come to chill. I'm joined by Hondo and Skinny Nerd here. And again, another solid week. We got a little 15-minute fun of Punisher. Maul wrapped up last week. Everything's pretty much wrapped up and finished in the TV world of things. Got a pretty big week of comic books. That's always fun. Of course, everyone got their battle damaged Batman. And the whole ordeal with that, which was pretty interesting. And I think we'll just kind of kick it off with comics for this week.
We talked about
for those
battle
of you
damage.
That don't know, Absolute Batman issue number 20 came out with about 100 covers. I don't know if a comic has ever released with more variant covers than Absolute Batman issue number 20. I really seriously doubt that there has ever been anything with more covers than this book. And most of them were damaged. There was some issues coming off the press, and most of the books came damaged. There's a very select few that didn't. And then a lot of people were hoping that the variants would be okay. And a lot of the variants ended up not being okay either because they still have that A cover on the inside. And for whatever reason, most of the A covers on the inside were still damaged, even if the variant cover on the outside was okay. So, they got screwed. I'm not overly upset about it. Honestly, I thought for a book that had like over 100 covers, a lot of them stunk, and I didn't really want them.
You think that, and also the only book that was even close to Absolute Batman 20 in variant covers was Absolute Batman 19 with all the Scarecrow covers. I think they were pushing 100. Do you think that because the cover A's were damaged inside the variant cover is because they make the book first, don't staple it, and then they just put the variant cover on top and then punch it through?
Yeah, I'm assuming that's how it has to be, which I didn't realize at first. But
and that's how it should be, in my opinion, because Marvel doesn't put the cover A in there, and I really wish that they did, because I love having that cover A on the inside just in case. That way you get the best of both worlds.
Okay, right on. I don't think it bothers me either way. Obviously, it sucks if you do have a misprint issue because then it screws over all your books. But I'm assuming, and I had never thought about it prior to this, but I'm assuming that's how it has to be. Obviously, if all the A covers ended up damaged on the variants as well, they must.
Have you followed any of the damage control after this and what's been going on?
A little bit. I know a lot of shops are getting refunded. I believe it was somewhere in like the $500,000 range for DC that they're losing out on this issue because of damage control. Because pretty much nationwide, this book went out as a mess, but sounds like you might have more details on it.
Yeah, it's got to be more than that dollar-wise. This is a logistical nightmare. And I wonder if they bill back or invoice their distributor, the people that actually make the books, for lost gains. But they're rushing a second print, which usually it takes a couple months to get a second print. Obviously, they get ordered soon based on pre-orders and all that. But the second print will come out in 15 days, maybe a little 3 weeks. So I think it's June 3rd is when it comes out.
I know most of the shops are getting a huge discount on that.
Yeah, that seems fair. I got from Third Eye. I got a pre-ordered Dragata autographed 20. I also got the 19, and I got that a couple months ago. And so they emailed me, and they said that they're going to send us. And I have something after this that's so interesting. They're going to send me the signed first print, and then they're also going to send me a second print for free. At no cost. So the cost on these vendors too to do all the damage control, they're literally sending this book for free in the mail, however much that costs, $10 or less, more, I don't know, to thousands and thousands of people across the country. I mean, that's just insane. Yep. And so what they said too is that DC talked to CGC and came to an agreement,
I did hear about
which
this.
is baloney.
See, I completely disagree. I agree with what you're saying. I disagree with what they're doing.
Okay, all right. What are they doing? Tell me.
They're essentially allowing or telling CGC to ignore the damage on the book and to grade it ignoring the damage that is on the cover, which I'm like, that's stupid. That goes against everything that CGC is and does.
And it establishes a precedent. This is going to happen again, maybe not all the time, but it's going to happen again. And I'm pissed. I'm very upset about it because I got a good copy and I want that one to be more valuable than the damaged ones.
Exactly.
So
and
I do have a question.
Bring it on.
So as someone who has not had any interaction with this, how bad, when you guys say battle damaged and damaged, how bad are we talking? Like, how messed up?
It kind of
spines
varies.
Are pretty beat up.
It kind of varies. Most of them have spine damage, and most of them it's around the center. Mine is very minor. But like CGC wise, it would certainly grade lower. It's hard. It's not going to show up on camera because it's right here in the black part.
But so it's not even God. See, with Magic, I know you guys have a little bit of interaction with Magic. There's a thing called miscuts because the way Magic cards are printed is they're printed in like massive cardboard sheets essentially, and then cut into pieces. And so sometimes there are inconsistencies in that. And so there are some cards that get referred to as a miscut, and the card is cut incorrectly. It's not sized correctly. And those are actually more valuable because a lot of times it ends up looking really cool. You'll have a card that has some little oddity in how it's cut and how it's printed out.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, when you guys were talking about battle damage and all that stuff and damage, I was honestly curious if it was something similar where it was damaged in a way that actually kind of made it look interesting.
No.
But
it's literally like spine damage. The cover, most of the covers, like I said, mine's not that bad. Some of them are really bad. Like I was looking at the shop today. Some of them are creased really bad. And the spine, it's most of them have like a spine damage somewhere in the middle section here. That's really bad, and some of them are worse than others. But to send out like they did horrible damage control. Like I can't believe nobody looked at these as they were sending them out. Like, hey, like we have a problem. We need to reprint from the get-go. The fact that they sent them out nationwide or freaking worldwide for that matter, with this many books looking terrible, is crazy. My shop also did something similar to kind of what Third Eye's doing, and I imagine most of the good shops will be doing this. But my shop handed me my book, and they're like, hey, when the new copies come in, we'll give you a clean one. And I'm like, cool, thanks. But again, like that sucks for my shop. It sucks for all the shops that are doing it, and I appreciate it. But DC really kind of screwed them over. And yeah, back to the CGC thing. Kind of goes into another topic I wanted to talk about later on, but I completely agree. I don't really sell much of my stuff. Obviously, I love collecting. I like having my stuff, but it is cool to have things of value and for your items to hold their value. Because, like, if rainy day comes and I do need to sell something from my collection, I don't know. I would appreciate it keeping its value. And I don't know, CGC doing that with DC. I don't like it. And it feels kind of shady, kind of similar to what PSA's been doing with some Pokemon all year long. And kind of GameStop's been involved with some of that. I don't know. It's, some shady stuff's going on with some of the grading elements. And this is the first I've really seen of it with CGC. But I don't like it. I agree.
Yeah, I feel like kind of going back to, I guess, what I was talking about with Magic stuff. Like, once again, if it was damaged in a way that was interesting, like if there was something weird with how it was printed or it was inked weirdly or something like that, where it creates something that is like unique, that would be interesting. But I'll be honest, the damage that you guys are talking about that you're showing, that just seems like what would happen if you like dropped a book funny.
Yep.
Right? It's not like
it's happened to 100,000 copies too, like those miscuts for Magic. I mean, that's like 100 or so, which, like you said, makes it more valuable and demanding.
Well, and also, like, even again, similar to this, like if you do find the needle in the haystack and you do have a good copy and it grades at a 9.8, like that's awesome. People are gonna want it. You can still do second printings, but I think that's bogus. I don't think CGC should have agreed to it. I don't think DC should be trying to push that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's still across the board. And then also, like, I think it's also a cool book, too. Like, what a cool book to get at a 7.5. 20 years from now, it's like, oh, it's a 7.5. Why don't you want it? And then we're old geezers at that point, and we're like, well, let me tell you here, little whippersnapper. It came out damaged, and that's why this 7.5 for Absolute Batman number 20 is actually super high. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's ridiculous. Absolute Batman has been a part of quite a bit of controversy the last couple weeks. A lot of it involving money, grading, misprints, whatever you name it, variant covers. There was also a variant cover that went out. I forget the artist, but they were supposed to release it through a comic shop like most of the other comic shops have been doing. This was for issue number 19. It was a very cool Scarecrow cover. And then they ended up releasing it, like, I don't know, maybe 20 issues on the actual website. And then they auctioned the rest off on Whatnot as brand new books, which I completely disagree with. And I
saw that was bad enough that leaked outside of comic circles. Yeah. That's the thing that's crazy. It was bad enough that outside, even in just like more general cultural stuff, people saw that and got salty about it. So DC needs to really watch what they're doing. They're hitting the point where they're going to run into problems.
And Dan Quintana is who it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it's a super good cover too. And it sucks. I'm like, don't screw over your fans. And I think, I'm all for creating value, having exclusives, whatever. As I've said before, I'm a huge fan of it, and I want exclusives to actually be exclusive. But at the same time, release them as brand new items. Don't auction them off. Like, we shouldn't auction off brand new stuff from the get-go, because that just rapidly inflates prices, and then you just cut out most of your hardcore fan base from actually being able to get said items. So, I don't know. Kind of frustrating.
On what Skinny Nerd mentioned earlier about the old misprints, I would love to show something off. I turn my camera off so I can go get it. Silver Slurpee, you might have this. It's the black and white ink and pen Hush. Oh, what? What? Oh, what?
It's right next to my desk.
What are the odds of that, buddy? Make them kiss. Yeah. Sick. Well, turn to page 5. I'm very interested. I'm just kidding.
By the way, this is freaking badass. Oh, there's Catwoman's butt. Sorry.
It's freaking awesome. We're gonna get banned. So these, if you remember, we bought them at San Diego Comic-Con in 2024, probably, maybe 5, 4. And they came bagged. Do you remember that? Sealed in bags?
I actually don't. My awesome wife bought this for me. I think she was in line with you.
Actually, that's exactly it.
So I was not there when this was bought.
Well, if you pick her brain a little bit, they were sold bagged, and I hadn't opened this book until a couple months ago, or maybe I just missed it. I don't know what the deal was, but they cut the page too long. So I'll try to show it here. You see that?
Oh, interesting.
That is on yours, not on mine.
Not on yours, right?
Nope.
So when I opened the book out of the bag, this page was folded. And I go, that's weird. Why is it folded? I haven't even opened this book. And then I fully closed it, and that is what's showing. And I haven't found anything online about people having elongated pages or whatever it is. Yeah. So I'm very interested.
I'm sure that was like a very fluke. Like, you got like the only one that got fucked up.
Yeah, but is it now worth $100,000? Am I gonna buy Jim Lee's house because it's so good? Maybe.
So
Maybe.
I actually I had a trade paperback like that. It was
Mhm.
I think it was a Stargirl trade paperback by Jeff Johns actually, and Todd Nock did the art. Phenomenal book, but it drove me nuts reading this book because the
Yeah.
page is sticking out at the bottom, and that whole page you can't fix it to make it like good. It's annoying and it sucks. It really drove me nuts in terms of an actual book that you had to read. Oh, it drove me
Mhm.
crazy.
There was a novel I read. As a series. I think it's the Last Apprentice series. It was a horror series. I like early early teens horror series I read growing up. That they did they for aesthetic purposes they made it like a kind of older school bookbinding, and so as a
Oh,
result of that, the pages were crazy inconsistent. And so reading that book was always a massive pain in the rear because every single page was like a slightly different width.
wow.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That is unique
So,
and cool though. I like that,
Uh-huh.
especially for a horror book.
couple quick notes, and then I have a comic question actually for Hondo. But kind of cool in regards to grading. PSA released earlier in the week. They reported almost $200 million worth of fraud that came through in 2025, like coming through PSA, and they realized like they were fraudulent cards. Like approximately $200 million worth of fraudulent cards came into PSA, mostly all Pokemon because it's going AWOL right now. Um, but insane. And actually, shout out to PSA for actually like doing their damnedest to control it. If you're finding $200 million worth of fraudulent cards, I think you're putting in some effort to, knock out some fakes, which is cool for fans, And again, like I've never had an issue with CGC. I just don't like this agreement with DC. And then same with like the auction stuff that we were talking about. I have no problems with eBay Live or freaking eBay in general. I'm all for whatnot. Just don't do it with new stuff. That's dumb. Like if you buy it and you want to sell it, cool, auction it off. Do that. Now, uh, still in regards to comics, Hondo. Last week you had mentioned that you thought Image was like taking it for the year so far, or at least like
Yeah.
kind of running the show. They were the top dog. What do you think it is that Image is doing so well? And do you think that there is like what do you think DC and Marvel are lacking um, in terms of not being in that number one spot?
I don't think they're lacking anything. I truly love DC, but I think this year is the year of Image. And maybe it's how many variations of stories they have, from E to M, if
Yeah.
that's the grading scale that we're going. They have a motto, and I read it at the end of a Spawn book, and I swear I mentioned it before, and it's something I can't remember. It's something along the lines of like a comic book in every hand of man, woman, and child in America, or something like that. Or comics for everyone, or something like that. And it was basically saying like we're gonna make stories that anyone in the world is gonna enjoy. No one's gonna feel left out or find something that they can't enjoy. And I think you go from dork, right? We have a dwarf orc, with a headless chicken in the medieval
Mhm.
times, just fight, which is so fun. I didn't think I'd enjoy that book, but I freaking love it.
Yep.
And it seems like the general public is loving it. But then, you have something like Corpse Knight or something,
Yeah.
that's a legacy character like Spawn and whatever else. So yeah, I think they've been doing really, really good. And then you also have Invincible doing great this year with the new season coming out, and that's obviously increased a lot of excitement surrounding those books. I just really think the diversity of their book portfolio is really, really good, and
Absolutely.
so are the other publishers. But I think they're killing it, and they had a lot of number ones that weren't number ones for the sake of being number one, like I think Marvel is doing. I think
Yep.
they're actually genuine stories that they're trying to get in the hands of everyone in the country.
Yeah. No.
Can I throw
Great
out there
answer.
what I think is actually a big part of it? It's not something that DC and Marvel lacks. It's actually something that Image lacks, and that would be baggage.
Yeah.
Image doesn't have a ton. They have their long running stuff. They have stuff like Spawn. They have comics that have obviously been going on for a long time, but they haven't had themselves this really established presence in the same way DC and Marvel has, where DC and Marvel have, to a degree, they're boxed into certain corners. There's things that they cannot do because of the nature of what their comic books are. You cannot write anything that isn't a superhero story in some way, shape, or form for DC or Marvel. You can put some spice on them, you can theme them, but at the end of the day, anything by them is going to be a superhero story.
Yeah, no, totally fair.
Yeah, maybe
I would agree. And like for me, I think Image is stealing the show this year. It certainly helps when you got Jeff Johns going absolutely ham on, I think, 4 or 5 titles single-handedly, with all of his Ghost Machine stuff. So that's been super exciting, and he's been killing it. Yeah, Image has a ton of good stuff going on, and I think just in general, I kind of like their motto is cool, and I was kind of thinking the other day, like, you know, it's so cool, and I think the whole nerd culture is just so fun because it constantly just brings people together. People are having fun. Like San Diego Comic-Con, you get, 500,000 people crammed into downtown and everyone's just having a good time. And we're there to support all the stuff we love and we like. Does bad stuff come out from time to time? Sure. But for the most part, like, being a nerd is just fun. It's a blast. So much good content. And yeah, like, I don't know. I think it's a lot of good people. So I think Image is killing it. Another thing that I kind of realized with this whole cover scandal too is I feel like DC and Marvel's covers, like the material of their covers, kind of sucks in compared to Image and Dark Horse and stuff. A lot of like Dark Horse and Image Comics and Boom Studios and stuff use like a much thicker, it's almost like a cardstock, and it feels really nice, it looks really nice, and it's much like thicker and sturdier than DC and Marvel, and they charge less money for most of their comics.
That's so funny you say that. I literally had that same conversation in my head a couple weeks ago when I was reading Corpse Night #1. I was like, oh, I stock cover A for $3.99 as a #1 as well. They're not adding an extra $1 or $2 for it being the #1, is a cardstock cover. And that's been just about all my Image books, if not every single one. And I think DC, for their variant covers, they do cardstocks, but not for their cover A's 100%. There's no way.
Yeah.
But, I literally just got up to go check Something is Killing the Children, and it was definitely a noticeably nice cardstock cover.
Well, and even like, so this Transformers book from Image is not like that cardstock material, but it's still like a thicker paper than DC and Marvel for their covers. So I really appreciate that, and I think it's really cool. And that kind of cardstock look looks really nice, and it feels really nice.
I just hate reading those books because I feel like I have to be extra careful and not get a bend in there, where I love just like a full floppy, like I can just hold it in the middle and both sides will flop down and I could just read it like this. However, I do appreciate it in the long run for its longevity and durability.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up.
I actually have one more thing with comics I wanted to talk about.
For it.
Believe it or not. So I haven't picked up any of the physical books, but I've actually been working my way through Absolute Martian Manhunter.
Oh, heck yeah. I
knew you'd like that.
Not read that yet.
Yeah. No one's too surprised if you know me.
What are your thoughts?
People love it.
I do want to read it. I have not gotten around to it.
Okay, so I'm reading the digital version right now. So I will say one complaint I am going to have right out the gate. There's some really interesting stuff that they're doing with that book as a physical book, doing some stuff with like playing with light, filtering through the pages, which it sucks reading it digitally because you don't get any of that. Like there are literally 2 pages in the book. I don't want to spoil too much of what's going on with it, where essentially how it is there's an image on each side of the page, and if you hold it up to the light, you see one image through the other page, is what I think is happening. So you essentially have the two images overlaid. And so all that happens is if you're reading it digitally, you see one page normally, and then you go to the next page, and everything's backwards, including the text. And so it's like, cool, I can see what you were trying to do here, but you couldn't like throw a single bone to people reading this digitally and find some way to make that work. It's a little irritating.
No, for sure.
But that said, they're doing something really cool. It's a really interesting story, and I don't want to get too much into it and spoil too much, but the idea of, I want to draw comparisons to one of my favorite authors, Terry Pratchett, because they're playing very much with the idea of literary devices as an actual story element and as a plot point. You have characters who are fighting within metaphors and using metaphors as weapons and using actual literary devices.
Thank you for explaining to the class, because I had no idea, and I know Silver Slurpee didn't either know what a literary device was. Define metaphor.
But yeah, they're using the concept of like actual. They're fighting with ideas in a very, very literal sense, and it's a super unique way to portray like a character who's always been like a mentalist kind of character. It's a super interesting way to kind of portray what he's doing.
And it's coming to an end soon. I don't know what issue they're on right now, but Dennis Camp is moving on to something else.
Yes,
and I don't know what.
I believe it's only got like another issue or two.
Yeah, that's where I thought too. So everyone get your magic mushrooms out and read the rest of Absolute Martian Manhunter.
You got more Absolute stories coming, because you got Catwoman coming down the pipeline. You got Green Arrow coming down the pipeline. So
I feel like I discovered Green Arrow, Absolute Green Arrow, before everyone else, even though I know that's not true. I feel like a hipster that discovered a band before. But it didn't seem like anyone was excited for Absolute Green Arrow, like at all. And then in the last 30 to 45 days, it seems like people actually care about it once more has come out.
I was going to say, you're starting to get art and things like that are popping up. The little previews at the ends of books.
Yeah, so many variant covers for it too. And I just loved Oliver Queen, R.I.P. Spoiler alert, to Absolute Oliver Queen. But they announced it at San Diego Comic-Con last year, and the writer, his name is Pornsak Bachote, I think. I don't know what he's written before, but I met him at the Scott Snyder Dragata, Hayden Sherman, Jeremy Adams signing that they had, and he just seems like a super cool guy. I was also like 3 feet away from him at another deal.
Yeah,
I'm really excited. No, he was wearing a mask, and I thought he was Jim Lee, but I don't want to talk about that. I'm super excited. I'm really excited for that book, and I hope it's good, and I hope they keep it going as long as they can. But yeah, Absolute Catwoman. What else? Is there another Absolute coming out? Or is it just them two?
I believe those are the only two that I'm aware of right now. Catwoman, Green Arrow. There's going to be another one that comes down the pipeline for sure. Someone else.
Hey, so the author for Green Arrow, Absolute Green Arrow, you want to know what else he's worked on?
What?
I looked it up the other week and I can't remember.
Exquisite Corpses, Volume 1.
Okay.
That's what.
Yeah. Nice.
And then a whole lot of other like independent books. He's a very much a horror writer. It actually looks like taking a look at what
the Green Arrow, the Absolute Green Arrow looks pretty much like a horror book, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I've seen some of his other stuff. Man's Best Friend was another one that he wrote that is really interesting.
Another thing, I did pick this up today. Obviously, I'm a huge Jason Aaron fan, and I've heard nothing but great things about this book, and I have no clue what it's about, but I picked it up anyways. I did get the first trade of Bug Wars, and it is written by Jason Aaron, who is literally one of my favorite writers. Super cool. I flipped through it. The art looks freaking sick. Literally looks like a bunch of bug people fighting and stuff. Looks crazy, but I'm all about it. And there's humans in here too. So yeah, looks cool. Can't wait to check that out. And I've heard a lot of good things. So very excited.
Did Did you hear what Snyder and Matt Fraction are going to do for Free Comic Book Day next year?
No, I did not.
They're going to both write their respective Batmans, and it's going to be the same exact story, theoretically, the same exact crime or scenario or whatever, and they're both going to solve and interact with that crime in their own different and unique ways. Which
I'm
That'd be
going to be
cool.
real. I
So-
love that idea.
In
That's
the
a
absolute
sick idea.
universe, and the regular Batman's going to deal with it
in the
his
Matt
universe.
Fraction. Yeah.
That's cool. All right, big announcement here. I will pick up that issue of Matt Fraction's Batman, but I did take it off my pull list.
Oh,
After last book.
ooh.
Yeah, I don't know. It just wasn't doing it for me. If it picks back up, maybe. I'll probably read it digitally for now. But in all honesty, every issue just feels like a little mini story of whatever random thing he wants to write. And then it's like on to the next thing.
I think that's part of what makes it good in a way too. But I do like the continuity and continued story that we're not getting with this. So.
Yeah. I just feel like it's just missing something that's keeping me around.
Feel like you need at least a few issues of a comic book to do a good story. I feel like trying to do a single issue storyline every week is not great. I feel like at least give it like maybe little 2 or 3 issue mini arcs if you want to go that route might come across better.
Yeah, I think we're
Give it room to breathe.
9 issues in, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. We're already 9 issues in, and I
there's
feel
been
like
9
there's no
villains.
direction to this story. So,
Gotcha.
like if I got like volume 1 in the trade of this, I think I'd be pretty disappointed because I'd be like I wouldn't want to pick up volume 2.
Gotcha.
I'd be hard pressed
can see
to.
that. Monster of the Week. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm calling it Monster of the Week because that's very much kind of what this is. Villain of the Week, if you want to call it that, for superheroes. It's not a terrible plot device idea, but if you're gonna do it in the form of comic books are so short in general that a single issue is not really enough time to meet a villain in some way, shape, or form, establish what's going on, confront the villain, and beat the villain. I feel like you need at least 2 to 3 issues to go through that, unless you're fighting Condiment King. Tell me it's not Condiment King.
Well,
Please tell me it's not Condiment King.
Let's go through the villains, right? So we have Vandal Savage,
Who's still
we have
around?
Hugo- still around. He's the only piece of continuity, I feel like. So
Yeah.
Vandal Savage, Joker, Minotaur, Bird Lady with ninja swords, Hugo Strange.
Yep.
The Riddler was in issue 3 or 4, so
Yeah.
that's 6.
Jesus.
Yeah, 6 out of 9. And that's the only ones that we can remember.
And
I'll be honest.
Vandal Savage is kind of the only one that is sticking around,
consistent.
but that's because he's the police commissioner. He's not really Vandal Savage only seems to be a problem when they want to move some other plot point forward. Let's start a new Batgirl #1. So all of a sudden, this crazy thing goes on, and that seemed dumb to me. I don't know if you've read the issue.
Not yet.
I also just didn't really care for it. The way Batgirl got captured, I thought it was just stupid. So who knows? Maybe there was a plan behind why there probably was for why she, maybe she intentionally got captured. It seemed lame.
About that David
That's also a
Nakayama.
lineup of villains that are all like the super. They're all the cerebral Batman villains that you're kind of throwing there, like Riddler, Vandal Savage, Joker, Hugo Strange. Those are villains that should take multiple issues to deal with. Dear God.
Through the that's the David Nakayama cover.
Very cool cover.
I have no interest in this book, but I bought it.
I wonder why. There actually the other cover, and I still might get it from Warlock Comics. The other one, where she's arms through the jail cell, and there's all the villains behind her. Pretty sick cover.
Pull her up here.
Let's
see.
I might have to get that one as well. Now, I did see the foil version of this at my shop, and they had one left, and I was like, oh, sick, I'll get the foil.
A DNA foil? Or
of the David Nakayama cover.
Yeah, cool.
I didn't get it. I thought it looked like crap. Maybe not crap. That's probably a little harsh. The colors on the regular cover looked phenomenally better. Like, it was like leagues above. The foil cover looked really dark. Did not turn out well as a foil cover, in my opinion.
When you foil something, you have to be super careful about what parts you foil and how you do it. Because, same with Magic, since every card ends up getting a foil edition, they've gotten really, really good at picking and choosing what parts are foiled and what parts stay matte. But you have to be super careful to make that work.
And I wish they did that more often in comic books. I feel like now it's just everything is foil.
The whole cover, yeah.
The whole cover,
no.
rather than piecing it together, which could just be so cool.
Yeah.
It just takes more work, I'm sure, publishing art.
The thing about the foil covers is they just turn out so dark.
Yeah.
And most of them are tough to see.
That's what happens is you get basically anything you foil either becomes dark or kind of becomes washed out when you expose it to enough light to get that shine. Yeah. That's why you have to be so careful about how you foil stuff.
Yep. And there's some people that foil their own books, like they do custom foils where they pick their own colors and whatever, and just X-Acto knife pieces out. And they look so cool.
So I don't have the foil version, but the way they did, have you? I don't know if you remember this, but they did a foil version of this Batman cover at Con last year, and I think it was Alex Sinclair that did it. He took took foil strips where all the rain is and literally made foil strips of the rain. Looked incredible. And he did each one by hand. I wish I spent the money and got one of those because it was freaking amazing and I should have done it. But this cover is sick alone by itself. But that version of the foil cover that he did with the foil raindrops was wildly cool.
That was literally the book I had in my head when I was talking about what I was talking about. And that was the first instance I've ever seen that happen. And I don't think it was Alex Sinclair, but it was like a custom shop on Whatnot, I think. And they only had a couple. And I don't think they had them in person.
I could have sworn it was one of the two of them that did it.
Oh, maybe. But maybe it was him through that shop.
Maybe. I don't know.
It was definitely online because we would have bought that.
They had like 5 at the convention, and they sold on preview night.
That's how they get you.
I could have gotten one, but I decided against it because it was like $150 or something. Like, it was an expensive.
Well, that initial one was $50, wasn't it?
Yeah,
just that one.
I think it was like another $100 or something for the other one.
Yeah, it's already tight.
But very cool cover, and really like the way they did that.
Yeah.
I thought there was something else I wanted to say in regards to comics, but we'll talk about it next week. I think everyone's ready to discuss that Punisher episode.
What do you guys think? Is it sick or what?
Okay. This is
me and Silver Slurpee will talk.
No,
while the children hang out.
You're not gonna be very happy with me. Actually, I thought it was pretty bad. Now I feel like we're all at different levels. I feel like I'm probably the lowest. Skinny Nerd seems like it's in the middle. I knew you would be hyped on it. For me, this is what it felt like. It felt like a bad miniature John Wick movie, which I'm not a John Wick fan, to be fair. So that's kind of like, I'll just preface that from the start. I'm not a huge John Wick fan. I get bored after the first 30 minutes. I'm all for big fight scenes, but oh my God. Half the time when Punisher was killing people, it felt more like it was just zombies running at him. Like, the rooftop scene was terrible. Guys are running at him from 20 yards away with melee weapons, and it's the Punisher on a roof with guns. What idiot is going to do that? It was just stupid. And I felt like half the fight scenes were just people charging at him like zombies for him to, cap in the face. And it just felt like a bad miniature John Wick movie. all for a costume reveal. Dog situation aside, but then it makes it even more like a John Wick movie. But all for a costume reveal. It had some fun action. I wasn't overly impressed though. Skinny Nerd, if you want to
You're telling me you didn't cry 4 times like I did?
I
Sorry.
did. I was very pissed off. The throwing the dog in front of the car infuriated me. I'm a huge animal guy. Love dogs. Honestly, dare I say it? I think I most of the time like dogs more than most people. And that shit pissed me off. So glad that guy died.
I was going to be very upset by the end of it if we didn't see him dead by the end of that. I was waiting. I was watching for that guy to show up in any of the fights, and I was getting very irritated the longer it went on, and I didn't see him getting murked.
I would have. So I will say, when at first you see like Punisher walking, and then it goes to you see bloody hands on a bar. I thought he had the guy tied up. I was like, yes! Torture scene of the dog murderer, and then it's just him doing pull-ups. And I was like, damn it!
That would have been cool. I thought that the trash truck or whatever it was, I thought that was Punisher, like, coming in to just kick his ass. And I was like,
he throws the dog!
It went horribly wrong. The dog's dead. Spoiler alert. Oh. We got Skinny there. What are your so-so
Okay.
thoughts?
What are your so-so thoughts?
I felt like it was like 10 minutes of movie to justify a massive 30-minute action piece. And that I feel like I feel like the 10 minutes of movie were really kind of disjointed. The action piece was decently well set up overall. Definitely the hand-to-hand was a lot better than the gunplay. Like Slurpee was talking about, the gunplay I was not a fan of. The hand-to-hand, honestly, in the apartment was pretty solid. I felt like
I will say a plus based on what you just said. In my opinion, I thought it was cool. I feel like in a lot of the prior adaptations of Punisher, not adaptations, but the other stuff with Punisher, like from Netflix and in Daredevil, they do their damnedest to get guns out of his hands. And he has mostly melee scenes. I will say, I thought it was cool. They kept guns in his hands most of the time, and he got to shoot people. I'm like, cool. At least they like kept it to Punisher. That part I enjoyed. I just don't like people running at him like zombies was stupid.
Yeah. There was one bit that I'll be honest, I'd have to go back and rewatch it. The bit where he falls onto the AC unit. Did that look weird to anybody else? Did something look weird about how was that like AI?
It looked like they were
CGI
copying a John Wick movie where he fell 60 times in the 4th movie.
But something about
series of all time, just in case the haters are wondering.
Something about how that was viewed. Something about that looked weird to me. Like really bad.
It is the talk of the town on Twitter.
Oh really?
People
okay.
are just,
I'm not.
Oh my
I'm
God.
not.
I didn't even catch it.
Okay.
No. People hate the Punisher special on Twitter, and they especially keep highlighting that one scene, which it was his stunt double that fell down, and then they put John Bernthal's face on top of it, which is why it looked a little weird.
That's why. Okay, that's why it looked so.
It was 3 seconds in a 50-minute masterpiece.
I think okay, that's where I think the problem is though. Is like I said, there's a few interesting emotional beats in it. The bit about him, I guess. I'll be honest, the entire movie can be summarized in he's thinking about killing himself. He runs into a little girl that needs saving, and saving that little girl basically inspires him to go back to being Punisher. And that's basically, I'm going to be honest, you could have made a 10-minute short and have accomplished the exact same thing as the special did. And I'll be honest, I'm being generous by saying it would take you 10 minutes.
Could open up the Spider-Man movie with it.
Yeah, you could literally have opened up the Spider-Man movie with like a 5 to 10 minute scene and accomplished the same storytelling as this movie, special did.
I will say,
and I think that's what I thought was disappointing.
What what did you love about it, Hondo? What were your
I'm
favorite
having
parts?
I'm having a hard time seeing how he fits in. Like, I don't see this New York and Spider-Man Brand New Days New York being the same thing.
Agree.
Same
And
with Daredevil,
I was going
right?
to say,
Like, I don't see how they fit in. Like, it seems so dark. It's like the meme where there's a guy looking out the window of a bus and like one's really sunny and one's like really scary.
well, see, like even like I can see the Daredevil world being within Spider-Man. It's not quite as crazy. Like, yeah, there's protesters. They break into City Hall. Daredevil's there dealing with it. Jessica Jones is there. If I was Spider-Man, I'd be like, sick, they got it. Kind of like when Superman's watching a Green Lantern fight an imp that's not going to hurt anyone. Let Green Lantern handle it, you know? But, like, this part of town that Punisher's in is like a war zone. People are getting murdered left and right. There's cop cars on fire. The police apparently want nothing to do with this place. But they have this vigilante task force. Well, I guess they're just banning out. Is this after Born Again?
No, so this is the weird part. This is the weird part. You know when this is supposed to be set? This is supposed to be set immediately in the aftermath of Punisher Season 1.
No.
That's apparently where it's supposed to be set, yeah. This is supposed to be the immediate aftermath.
I thought it was supposed to
lead into this is what's making it so weird. This is what's all making it so weird. It really feels like they did a very poor job of establishing what they were trying to do with this, and then like explaining it, demonstrating it, any of that.
I was asking for your likes, and you came right up with a dislike.
Computer, tell me when the Punisher special takes place.
I will say, also, can we relax on the voice a little and some of the grunting? We're getting like Christian Bale, Dark Knight Rises level here. It's getting a little over the top. I'm like, all right, dude. Let's tone it down.
You guys are absolute haters, and can clock off if you want to go take a cigarette break while I talk about how freaking awesome this special was.
No, let it rip. Let us hear it. I will say, Bernthal is awesome as Punisher. Don't get me wrong. I don't want anyone else to play Punisher. Just wasn't my favorite. Go for it. What'd you like?
The best version of Punisher ever, and the best version of Punisher there ever will be, in my opinion. And he's top tier as an actor. I'm surprised they have someone so big that has continued to do this type of stuff, you know, and on the small screen in a way, you know. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are just so vain and go, I won't do some random Marvel, 50-minute deal.
Great acting throughout this. Absolutely great acting.
Huge fan. So I don't see the same worlds as Spider-Man and this. When you're talking about the cops not wanting to fight, Silver Slurpee, were you talking about when he was just walking and they were like firebombing the cop cars and the cop cars just reversed? Is that the scene you were talking about?
Well, yeah. Well, and also even like the whole like 30-minute long Warzone battle that they have, you don't see a cop in sight. There's nobody. They're just like, screw it. Let them kill each other.
Yeah,
crazy.
That's how I felt at the end of it. I was like, gosh, what are they doing right now?
I mean, even in Avengers, you see the cops getting their ass beat and like trying to do something, and then Cap shows up and is like, do this and this, you know?
Yeah. There's no leadership.
Punisher, they're like, screw it, he's on his own.
I thought that scene when he was walking and hell is all breaking loose and the war zone is taking place, I saw that as like a metaphor or whatever Skinny Nerd decided to call it. I didn't think it was actually happening, but I've heard other people think that it actually was happening and he chose not to involve himself. That is the least of my worries here. It's basically two movies or two things, right? Like him dealing with his own mental health and suicidal ideations, and then him just going ape shit and kicking ass and just doing every single thing that we want out of Frank Castle. I love the introduction of Ma Nucci in this universe. She plays a big part in the world of Punisher, so I thought that was really cool. Really enjoyed seeing all of her kids get freaking smoked. Also, her son's a child molester or something like that. Did you guys catch that? When he's like, "Oh, I swear I didn't do it." They're liars, right? Yeah, and then he just curb stomps him. Freaking sick. I love the scene at the graveyard. I could watch his family die all day long. And I just think that those emotional elements are a lot of fun. I was watching a breakdown video, and they said that this is the fourth iteration or the fourth rationale as to how his family died. Apparently, there were like 3 other reasons that they mentioned in previous seasons, and I don't even remember. It doesn't matter. They all died. Yeah, the action was kick-ass. The visions with his people I thought were really cool. And I think it highlights veteran PTSD, mental health, and whatever else. I thought Karen being in there was interesting. It's not just people that died. She's around, she's alive. And she's also, sleeping with Matt Murdock. So what are we doing over here? 2-timing him in a extra one-stop special.
I think that was still a hallucination. I'm gonna be real here. That was not. I'm 100%.
Oh no, it definitely was. Yeah, no, it definitely was. I was just saying, like, it seemed like everyone he was hallucinating as seeing, they were all dead, but she's actually alive.
Except her.
So it's not just folks.
Sure.
And then, gosh, when they freaking started playing the metal music, and he's just staring at Ma Nucci in the car, and then they're just like, blah blah blah, kill the puppies. No pun intended, right? And he's just smoking dudes the metal for 20 minutes. I was just sitting in my recliner. I was like, dude, this is the greatest thing I've ever watched. I love this so much. This is exactly what I wanted. But everyone on Twitter is saying, take the pen away from John Bernthal. He co-wrote this show or movie or whatever you want to call it. And they are coming for his throats. But I really enjoyed it. So, fuck you guys.
I do think there were good aspects of it. I'm going to be honest. Like I said, I feel like it was really disjointed. And it felt like it was too... I don't even know. There were some interesting aspects. So yeah, you're right. It did a good job highlighting PTSD, some mental health trauma stuff, and it did that well. I think. But I don't know. It feels like so much of it was just a justification to get to the action scene. And then that action scene was so big and so long and dominated the runtime so much that I feel like it overshadowed a lot of the other messaging.
It was very like Judge Dreddy and The Raid and, like you said, John Wick. But I love that isolated in a building and you just go floor by floor, just killing scumbags. Like, oh man, like Dredd with Carl Urban, fantastic. I don't know if you guys have watched that.
Yeah, I think most of the stuff, like most of the action inside the building, I enjoyed. I liked. For the most part, I think other than like one or two zombies that charged him like idiots with no gun, and he had one. But the rooftop, I was just like, what are these idiots doing?
Yeah. Close space, I'll be honest, the charging in and trying to catch him fast enough before he can get the gun up, I can kind of get. Once you're outdoors at that distance, now it's just insanity.
Do you have some?
I'm trying to think. Are there any other? This is the only show that's really done like a one-shot, like special like this, isn't it?
So the Guardians had their Christmas special, and then they did Werewolf by Night, which I think is considered a special.
Oh, how long was that?
It was for the record, it was excellent. I saw it. They did it in 2 versions. They did it in color, and they did it like an old school black and white. The black and white version of it was sick.
I haven't heard a bad thing, but I just can't get myself to watch it. I don't know what it is.
If you have no interest in like old school horror movies, I wouldn't bother because that's basically what it really is. At the end of the day, it's an old school horror movie, but it's done really well.
Well, because I was gonna say, like, I feel like it's hard to compare the Punisher special to much of anything else in the MCU because it's not a full movie. So, like, you compare it to any of the movies, obviously, it's got 50 minutes, so can't really hang with that. And then it's not a full season of a show.
I see it as a free gift that wasn't promised to us.
No,
we're not expecting a season. We're not expecting a movie. And they're just like, hey, here you go. Here's one of the coolest iterations of Punisher right now for 50 minutes. You're welcome.
It was fun. Like I said, I don't feel a need to like rewatch it, but it's cool. It's fine. Again, we got another week of something coming out from the MCU, so I'll take it. I'm not complaining.
Yep.
Does anyone not know what Frank Castle looks like? Like, oh my gosh, I live across the hall from Frank Castle. Oh, I'm in a bodega with Frank Castle.
A little silly. The only person that seemed to know who he was is the little girl. And then like he's on the TV getting a cup of Joe, and nobody gives a shit. Crazy.
Gosh, I can't suspend my.
Well, let me put the big skull on my chest, then they'll know.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. If there was a serial killer or some vigilante that did that type of stuff that just lived in my apartment, everyone would know about it.
Especially like the way he mopes around and pouts around. Like, dude is more depressed than Batman. Like, crazy.
Kind of tough life.
But yeah, no, I agree with that. I don't know how nobody seems to ever recognize Frank Castle. But you know, Daredevil with Matt Murdock, dude's got to stay in hiding for the entire show.
So, speaking of Batman, there was also, in addition to Absolute Batman, there was also another bit of Batman fun that happened this last week. There was a new Lego Batman game coming out.
Is it good?
Walmart, or not Walmart, but the company behind Lego Batman screwed up with the Walmart pre-release. And it has been, anybody who pre-ordered it through Walmart has been able to download and play it early.
Yeah.
How do they download it? Were they sent codes? Or?
So it was, from my understanding, it was anyone that got the card. Like, you know how you can buy the games on cards? So anyone that got anyone that got it, the code with for Xbox through Walmart, they went and they put the code in, because you know I can like pre-download games, but it won't let you play it. Yeah. So they pre-downloaded like a week in advance, and the game opened up, and they were all able to play like a week ahead of time. Pretty funny. Yeah. Not a huge deal. Like it's not like a TV show release.
It's not really a scandal. At the end of the day, it's not really
like it's GTA 6 or anything. You know,
that'll never come out anyway. So
don't have to worry about
that. But
that's crazy.
Just kind of funny, like a funny little story that happened with that.
Did you guys see what Matt Reeves posted on his social media accounts last week? Maybe earlier this week.
Like the picture of the Batmobile.
So sick. Oh, with snowflakes. Oh my gosh.
People were losing their mind.
Oh my gosh. We don't need a teaser for a teaser for a teaser. We just need Matt Reeves to post a really cool picture of his camera.
You know what's crazy is more people got hyped for that than they did with the Green Lantern teaser, so he's doing something.
Yeah, because the Batman is the best Batman movie of all time. Sorry, Dark Knight. 11 times in theaters. And someone was tweeting at him. They're like, "All I want to do is see Batman bleed out in the snow." And Matt Reeves is like, "Maybe you'll get your wish. Who knows? You know."
It's a little horrifying. I'm not gonna lie. Horrifying.
I'm so glad he's back. Because he was kind of off grid for a while. It sounded like he was going through some health issues, and that's why there was a delay. Mm-hmm. And obviously, there's a ton of rumors and stuff, but a delay in the script. So I'm glad he's back. It seems like he's feeling good and he's ready to rock and roll and kick some ass. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, no, I think go for it.
Sorry. No, keep going. Finish up what you're saying. No, I didn't want to cut you off.
No, I was going to say, I'm looking forward to the Batman too. I think it'll be cool. Yeah. Now, a lot of people are saying, obviously, Mr. Freeze, but kind of weird because they said like 4 or 5 months ago, or maybe like 6 months ago now, that the villain was going to be a villain that had never been done before in live action. So I'm assuming there's either someone else or it's just taking place during like Christmas time. I don't know. But, or like, you know, winter, or something else. If that is actually true, I really hope they didn't say that. And then like they do Mr. Freeze and it's like, well, we've already had Mr. Freeze before. Not that I'm fine with someone else playing Mr. Freeze. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know. Don't say that. And then just do a character that's already been done.
And Harvey Dent's going to be in it. Winter Soldier's playing him. so that'll be fun. Sebastian
Yeah.
Stan. So I think that'd be cool. But he's been done, so I don't think he'll be the main villain.
Yeah, I think he could
What do
play a really good Two-Face.
What do we want?
I'm really confident that we're going to see Court of Owls and Talon as
that'd
our.
be
So for me, I think it would be really cool. I don't need this as like the main villain. Like I'd be fine with a Mr. Freeze movie if he's done really well. Like that would be sick. I think it would be really cool though to open up the movie with like a fight with one of these two, whether it be Man Bat or Killer Croc, as like an opening badass Batman fight, where he's like fighting a big like sewer crocodile in live action.
coming out of the ice.
But yeah,
Cool.
something like that. We've never seen that before. Or, yeah, like exactly. Killer Croc's getting driven up to the sewer or like the surface levels. It's getting too cold. Batman investigates like what the fuck's going on. It's all frozen down here. Leads into Mr. Freeze. Would be super cool. Whatever. Or just give me a Batman opener with something that leads into the rest of the movie, or a Man Bat opener. I think it would be so cool to see one of those two villains fighting with Batman. Not to mention, not that it's going to happen, but if you put the Batman up against like a big badass Killer Croc and he takes him down, that's a Batman who can go into a Justice League movie. Just saying.
Yeah.
Is that what you want, Skinny Nerd? Court of Owls and Talon, or what do you want?
I feel like that's what's being leaned towards. I'm blanking on the name of the actor. One of the actors that was cast was a lot older, with no actual credits, and so a lot of people have speculated that that's going to be one of the like major Court of Owls figures, because they're like, it's what would make sense for the person that they cast. I'm blanking on who it is. I'd have to look up the IMDb.
Court of Owls.
Well,
would
maybe
be so cool.
It would be so cool. And yeah, if they brought Snyder in and like Greg Capullo to like be
see the I will say the thing is I really like Damian. I'm not a fan of Damian Wayne Robin. He's my least favorite of the Robins. But I do think he plays a pretty big role in that story. And I like him being involved with it. It feels very much like Obi-Wan Anakin kind of keep it like trying to keep Damian from turning to the dark side kind of thing. And
Totally.
I love it in that story. It plays out super well. Damian obviously doesn't turn on his father. Very cool. And I remember reading it in the comics as it was coming out, and Batman, actually goes missing for like, I think it was like 2 months or whatever, essentially 2 issues. It wasn't that big of a deal. But in the comic, like if you're reading comics, as they're coming out, it feels like a long time. It's like, man, Batman's been missing for 2 months. It's like, yeah, it's like 2 days in the comic books, but.
Well, and maybe they do, maybe they have Harvey Dent, come in and be part of the Court of Owls, right? He's not in it in the books, but it would make sense as, a hoity-toity, wealthy Gothamite, and Sebastian Stan is a huge actor, so, or at least in the comic book world. So maybe he is like the leader of the court.
I will say the Court of Owls kind of reminds me, have you read Absolute Batman number 19, Hondo?
Yeah.
Pretty crazy with what's going on with the Court of Owls and
with Martha Wayne. Yeah.
Insane. And there's more in Absolute Batman number 20.
So cool. Very excited about that.
I have already read that. But.
Yeah, and they kind of got into like the Waynes being a little weird potentially in the Batman movie. And corruption, whatever, and then people are talking about Tommy Elliott coming in and being Hush and whatever else, and that's kind of drawn out. But it would fit in the world really well, I think.
I feel like you need a more established Batman to hit him with Hush. I guess is my only thing with Hush. Hush only works. Hush works best when the whole idea with Hush is that he's using and manipulating a whole bunch of other Batman villains to dogpile Batman. Sure. And if it's just, I mean, at this point, the only villain that we've been introduced to for Batman is Riddler. That ain't enough.
Yeah, I think too, like a Hugo Strange would be really cool. Or
that would be
like Professor Pig would be badass. throwing in the serial. I mean, they already did the serial killer thing in the first one.
I think though I'd like a more physical villain this time because we got with the Riddler. To be clear, I loved the movie. They did a great job with the Riddler. But that was obviously that's not a Batman villain that actually fights Batman very effectively. That's a detective Batman villain, and that's kind of what we got. So we got a very detective Batman
Which we've
villain.
never got.
No. And so I'd love to see a villain though for the second movie that can challenge the physicality of Batman to a degree.
Sure. Yeah. Alan, what?
Yeah, there's lots of exciting stuff coming out. We're getting closer to Supergirl, which is super exciting. I can't wait for that. I think the addition of Lobo to that storyline just makes that book a million times better. It's going to be super exciting. We got Star Wars with Mandalorian Grogu coming out here soon. Obviously, Maul just wrapped up. That was phenomenal. I think we'll save the Maul discussion for next week. Hopefully, Skinner can watch it. But next week, I feel like we got to do Star Wars up big, so we might as well save Maul for that.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to go see Mandalorian and Grogu next week? I think that's when it comes out.
I'm going to try, yeah.
I think I'll go see it. We'll see. I'm hoping it's good,
It looks pretty bad. I'm really worried.
I think like most nerds, I'm still gonna go see it. I'm a nerd, so I got to do it.
Yeah, fair.
But lots of exciting stuff. We got that. I got Supergirl. We got San Diego Comic-Con coming around the corner here in July. Marvel's returning to Hall H. Super exciting. We got Sideshow collectibles returning to the exhibit hall floor. We got Spider-Man coming out here soon. We got Avengers Doomsday. The rest of the year is looking electric. So
for Skinny we have TennoCon coming up as well here soon for Warframe. Because we also just had a week or two ago, we just got a new drop of a new trailer for 2 upcoming new Warframes. They partnered with a metal band Era, who released a new song, "Crawl Backwards Out of Heaven," to be the theme song for these 2 frames with a sick ass animated trailer.
The frames are like the armors, essentially, right? That they were.
Yes, they're effectively your characters. So we're getting 2 new characters. It looks like. With some huge story implications with the update Jade Shadows Constellations that's going to be coming here soon. So we got some really, really cool stuff coming up in that world as well.
Very cool. We also have the Wolverine game coming up towards the end of this year, I believe.
Yes, that'll be September, November. I think September or October drop.
Can't wait. Like, what a freaking year. It feels like we're back in full swing of things after all the writer strikes and everything. COVID, obviously. Like, it just feels like we're back and rocking with everything in the world of geekdom. We got another season of Vox Machina coming out. Lots of stuff.
Yep.
Obviously, they're working on the next season of The Mighty Nine. So much exciting stuff. So can't wait for all that. And we will probably be talking a lot of Star Wars next week with comics, of course, like every week and every good Wednesday. But thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you all next week.